If you guys enjoy what I do, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps the channel and it's free and easy to do. Welcome to my channel where we cover the lore of Final Fantasy XIV. We cover the stories both big and small, the epic and the cute, the silly and the tragic. I hope you all enjoy the ride, and welcome to the Chronicler of Lore. The Warrior of Light decides that it'll be best to head to Thavnair first with Thancred, Urianger, and Estinian to talk to Nadana and find out exactly what she needed from the students of Baldesion. Estinian's already been out there, so he can just use the Aetheryte to travel, but the rest of you have to get there by a different means. Fortunately, Krau has already gotten the people of the Confluence to help out. Urianger is not all that eager to go to the Confluence since Moonbreeda's parents are both researchers there, and he hasn't seen them since her death. He wanted to, but he just couldn't make himself do it. But regardless, he'll still go with you, so you all head out to find Krau's contact, a researcher named Kite. Once you let the woman know that you're friends with Krau and not there to punish her for having late library books, she realizes that you're the test subjects, which doesn't sound all that safe. Because it's not, since you're trying to do something that's not exactly normal. Usually to travel by Aetheryte you have to be attuned to it, otherwise you won't have anything to lock on to and will basically just end up lost in the life stream. In other words, you'd end up like Y'shtola has on multiple occasions, but Kite and the others have come up with a way for people to teleport to places they've never been to before. It's taken years, but they finally made an Aetheryte that doesn't need to be attuned to. Well, while the people using the Aetherytes don't have to attune to the ones in the places that they want to go to, the Aetherytes themselves have to be attuned to each other so they can work. Fortunately, the test Aetheryte has already been attuned to the one in Ydomad, or Port Town in Thavnair. Sharlayan and Razat Han have always had pretty good relations, and the alchemists from the area helped a lot with the invention. But they haven't really been tested, which is where you all come in. Even with Thancred not being able to channel his ether, those Aetherites will still work for him. So the only thing you all have to worry about is your soul starting to deteriorate when you teleport, which is unlikely. Granted, with that being a risk at all, I can see why they don't have many test subjects. None of you are exactly eager to risk that either, but Urianger seems more worried about possibly running into Moonbreeda's parents, but they resigned recently and started working on a very big project that the Forum is leading, one that Kite doesn't know anything about. Since they're not there, it's best that you all get this over with before you realize that it's a bad idea. None of the Scions really want to go through with it, but since Estinian's the only one that can get to Thavnair the old-fashioned way, there's not much choice. Once Kite starts the process, she mentions one side effect that she forgot to tell you about. You're all going to have a very bad case of ether sickness. The good news is the process works. The bad news is the ether sickness drops all three of you. The Warrior of Light, Urianger, and Thancred all end up feeling like they've just woken up from a night of hard partying, minus all of the fun and sometimes embarrassing memories. Estinian figures that maybe getting you all something to drink would help you recover a bit, which is good, except for one thing. Krau gave Thancred a note, warning him not to let Estinian shop alone, because he's really bad with money. The Warrior of Light, being the only one of the trio that can move at all, tries to catch up to Estinian before he does anything stupid, but with the ether sickness making her steps pretty slow, she just makes it in time to stop the Dragoon from paying 20,000 gil for 3 drinks. You take the drinks back to your friends, and they actually do the trick. However, Estinian had wandered off again in the process, and he shows up with his hair tied back by a piece of string that he paid 9,400 gil for. It's normal for people to charge foreigners a higher price, but things seem a bit ridiculous out in Thavnair, especially since Razat Han has always been successful because of his trade. At first, the area was inhabited by the Argosodara, a more civilized tribe of the Matanga elephant people race. After a while, other races moved to the area, the cultures merged, and the unique Hannish style of creating things was made. Their products started to get a lot of love around the world, likely because of their very skimpy dancer outfits. The fact that their location is on some prime real estate when it comes to ease of access to other nations probably helped out a lot too. The point is, a place known for trade can't have people gouging prices, or people will shop elsewhere. The government would normally keep that in check, but since they don't seem to be doing that, something must be very wrong. The Scions figure that it might be a good idea to learn as much as they can about the area before they go looking for Kraal's friend Nadana. You all split up to do the whole detective thing, and it's made pretty clear that things are going poorly for the trading post. There are crates with nearly rotten food sitting around, boats that are way less active than what you'd expect, and merchants who openly talk about how bad sales have been, especially for the people with the biggest organizations like Khazal. The lack of activity has come from one major thing: the appearance of the giant, very creepy tower. Khazal's been trying to keep everything together, but it's hard to do when people won't even show up to collect the things that they order. They had a large shipment prepped and ready for some people from Dalmasca, but because of the civil war in Garlemald, all of the different parts of their domain are in chaos, so the Dalmascans aren't coming, and they don't want to risk their people getting attacked from the monsters from the strange tower. Yeddelmod isn't exactly well guarded like the city of Razadhan itself. Because of that, all ships have canceled trips to the area. When Khazal sees you and realizes that you aren't a foreign merchant, he tells you to politely go bother someone else. While the man's talking, a shy Arkasodara named Matsya comes in to see him, but since he's busy, the Elephant Man decides to come back a little later. The Warrior of Light, being who she is, decides to try and get a bit of information out of the newcomer. Matsya is a fisherman from nearby who usually sells his catch to Khazal, but recently he hasn't been able to buy any since trade sucks, and Matsya is not all that good at getting new customers because he's bad at the main thing that all salespeople need: people skills. When he finds out that you're an adventurer, he figures that you know how to deal with people, and he asks you to show him the ropes. Since it's not like you're trying to stop the potential end of the world or anything, you take the time to show Matsya the finer points of getting people to buy stuff that they don't really want, which he's grateful for, but he still needs things to go back to normal. Unfortunately, Khazal shows up and lets him know that for now, he won't be able to buy any of his fish, so Matsya will have to put his new skills to use. He heads off to do just that, and the Warrior of Light meets up with the Scions to talk about what you all already knew: that the tower is ruining the people's lives just by being there. Even worse, people are disappearing a lot, probably being snatched by tempered Garlean soldiers, which means it won't be long before they use their prisoners to summon a primal. The fact that most of the people being taken are Arkasodara means your new friend Matsya might be in danger since he's heading off all alone, so you all head off in the direction he went, which is the same way you all needed to go anyway to meet Kraal's friend. It's a good thing that you follow the man, because you catch up to him while he's being attacked by some Imperial soldiers. He's very happy to see you since getting kidnapped is not fun. He and his people were well aware of the kidnappings, but they can't really move to the city since all they know is fishing and they don't want to give that up. Since Urianger at least hasn't forgotten what you're all actually there for, he asks Matsya about the monsters that have been coming out of the tower. He doesn't know much since he avoids fighting as much as possible, but from what he's heard, the creatures look like the people of Thavnair's divinities. It's for that reason that the people have started calling the tower Zot, which means House of Divinities, even though the murderous creatures are nothing like the gods of Thavnair are supposed to be. It's pretty much inevitable that you're going to have to fight their gods when you try to bring down the tower, so Urianger wants Matsya to tell the Scions everything he can about them. When he finds out that you were there to save them all, he feels bad about wasting your time with the fish, but he's not exactly a good storyteller, so he decides to take you to his village Akyali, where his people let you all know who their gods are. They have a lot of gods, but they're broken into two groups: the Manusya, who look like humans and are beings of wisdom, and the Murga, who look like beasts and are gods of strength. Like people, they have different personalities, and in ancient times that caused them to fight. A lot. After a while, the Murga decided to swap heads with the Manusya so they could gain their knowledge, and the Manusya swapped heads with the Murga to get their strength, which led the two groups into a time of peace. I guess they never heard of working out and studying to bulk up and get smart, but I guess their way was easier maybe, even though I can't really see how. Out of all of the Manusya gods, 3 reign supreme. They are 3 sisters: Sendaruva, the goddess of wisdom, Sandaruva, the goddess of wealth, and Mendaruva, the goddess of the crafts. While they are gods of different things, they are always shown together, which should give you a hint of what's to come. The Murga god is seen as the father of all Arkasodara and the god of nature, but there's one other set of divine beings that have a special place in Thavnairian history, one that definitely gets Estinian's attention. Apparently the satrap, or ruler of Razadhan of the past, made a pact with the dragon, and since then it's acted as the guardian of Razadhan, and is said to show up if they ever need help, which means in the near future you may come face to face with yet another dragon. But first you all have to meet up with Kraal's friend to find out what she needed the students of Baldesion's help with. And that's where we're going to stop for today. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe, ding that notification bell. And if you really want to show your support, you can donate to the channel through the link in the description. Until next time, guys, later.